Kia ora and welcome to 4MATIC. I'm Dave.
And I'm Matthew, and today I'm wearing shoes. But these are no ordinary shoes, these are Mercedes-Benz AMG shoes, because today we are reviewing a Mercedes-Benz.
And not just any Mercedes-Benz, it's the EQS 53 4MATIC. So it's the perfect blend of AMG and also luxury. Come, let's take a look at this. Now, as you guys are probably fully aware, Mercedes are really embracing the electric age with basically electric models across their entire range, from their small cars to their SUVs all the way across. But this one is their first performance sedan, and boy, what to start with, the big S-Class. Looking around it, you've got the unmistakable Panamericana grille. Only this one, because it doesn't need any sort of airflow to go through it, it's been closed off with these hot stamped slats going along here. So chromed out but looking good, but also you've still got the A-shaped grille down here as well. So look at that for a front, magnificent, with just matrix grills, matrix headlights, and plenty of aerodynamic stuff here, which I'll get to in a moment. Sitting on the EVA2 platform, this has basically been built as an EV, but also embraces all of the AMG specific tech, which Matthew will get to in a moment. But it's in size, in overall impressive size. Look at it, it's 5.2 meters, so I actually can't see the end from here. It's resting on 21-inch feet that are basically aerodynamically chiseled out to make sure that the airflow is great, and actually the CD is 0.23, so it's just magnificent. Golf balls are slower through the air than this thing. The other thing about this is you cannot lift this bonnet. I mean, Mercedes owners probably won't want to lift the bonnet anyway, but you actually can't. There's no sort of lever inside to do that. But if you do want to put water inside for these window washers, you just touch here and you can unload and put it in here, which is cool. Looking further down, look at this A-pillar. It's so sloping and it just gives such a lovely sweeping round from there. And it's this sort of half moon or crescent moon shape across with this chrome trim. There you go, down there. Nice EQS badging and flush door handles, which when you open these at night, which I'll show you now, look at that, plenty of light around. Awesome. Let's take a look around the rear. Here we have an AMG specific spoiler here, obviously your AMG badging and your EQS 53, just in case you didn't know what you are in. Under here you've got a 6-fin diffuser and obviously no exhaust pipe because you're not going to have one on this. The other thing is this beautiful light bar, which I'll show you lights up at night. And also when you open up the boot, which you can do as a kicker, 610 litres of just space to put everything from golf clubs to, I don't know, bodies. Let's see what powers this. Behind here, or actually underneath here, is a usable 107.8 kilowatt hour battery. It's massive. Basically, when it's used at 23.7 or 23 point something kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, gives you a range of around about 587 kilometers. The other thing is you can charge it at 200 kilowatts per AC, or actually 22 or 11 at DC. Speaking of getting on your way quickly, there's two motors behind here that combined give you 484 kilowatts of power and 950 newton meters of torque. Or you can go for the AMG Plus pack, which will give you even more, up to 1050 newton meters of torque. Massive. 0 to 100 is 3.8 seconds, or if you go for the AMG pack, you can knock an extra 0.4 off of that. So it's really going to make anybody inside just spill their drinks and just, I don't know, give you that wow moment. Speaking of wow moments, Matthew's inside and he'll show you what's going on in there.
Now, Dave talked about wow factors, but I'm not sure there's anything quite more wow in this car than these three screens over here, but I will get to them in just a moment. Before I get there, this car of course has the S badge on it, the EQS. And as we know from Mercedes, S is always the absolute pinnacle of quality, of luxury, of Mercedes-Benz, frankly. It is the pinnacle Mercedes-Benz car. So how does this stack up when you consider all of that? Well, it does so quite excellently actually. In terms of materials, so right from the top to the bottom of the door card, you've got either soft touch or premium materials all the way through. You've got suede, Alcantara, wood, chrome, and soft plastics, of course. Looking at the seats, those in fact are covered in leather, really completely. Strong side bolstering top and bottom. You've got the AMG logo on it and the Affelter back logo embossed onto the headrest. So you can't get much more premium than this, to be honest, and that's really what the S-Class has always been about, and this EQS really does live up to that reputation as well. In terms of the seats, well, I just spoke about the materials and the support. They also have massage functions. There's plenty of different kinds of massages you can get. Intensive, you can get ones to sort of replenish your energy, and yeah, you can really go crazy in that sense. I'll draw your attention down to this little panel in the middle here. Now, it does a number of things, including start and stop the car, but the key thing here is actually this little trackpad looking thing there, where you can actually record fingerprints, up to 7 different fingerprints, to have the car set up to different users, if you like. So you can record your ideal seat position, steering, I guess audio settings, lighting, all of that stuff, and then register it to your fingerprint via that little trackpad there. So that's quite cool, and you can have 7 different ones. This is an all new concept, firstly, from Mercedes-Benz here, where we have 3 different screens. There's obviously the massive infotainment screen in the middle there. There's a digital gauge cluster in front of the driver, and then an entertainment screen there for the passenger as well. But for starters, let's look at this, the massive infotainment screen. Now, this is sort of the regular, I guess, default setting, and you can flick through there and see all the different customization options you have with this EQS. Starting from the left, look at charging. Few key things to note here. Obviously, it shows the battery range there in terms of percentage, and of course kilometer range, and then of course different charging settings that you can use. But one thing that's really cool here is when you click on range, you can actually see the different functions that are drawing from that range or drawing from the battery. And if you turn those off, you can get that bit of extra range there. So you'll see I've just pressed that and it's turned off that screen there to save a bit of range, which is quite cool actually. And it does give me a note there as well saying my actions might reduce the range depending on what I've pressed. So that's pretty cool there. Returning to the home, and once you move over from comfort, the next key one here is the AMG performance icon. So click that and you can see the car sort of on a road and how the different motors and batteries are interacting with each other. And then of course the charge level, and then what driving mode you're in. Click onto the next screen, the drive, and it'll show you what sort of percentage of power is being developed and torque by the front motor and the rear motor, and then of course how they're drawing from the battery pack. Vehicle is the next option there, and click into that and you can see the sort of turning radiuses. You can see the suspension settings. There's even a G meter here, and then the next one is the engine. Now you can see here that's a view of your EQS, and it tells you about the temperatures for the front and rear motors, tells you about the power and the charge being delivered by both sides as well. So that then feeds into this, which is the battery temperature there right at the bottom. So obviously we're cool right now at the moment, but again, it's just another point of display to prove the performance aspect of this car, which is really cool. Go back to home, and then you have there the settings. Once you're in here, you can go through the myriad of safety systems available. You can see there vehicle lights, system info. There's a ton of stuff, and it really is complex. You can get quite deep into the customization aspect of this particular EQS. The steering wheel in front of you hides the extension of the MBUX system, which is the digital instrument cluster. Now this is the Super Sport view, which shows you the information in a very sort of dynamic, futuristic style, but you can change this based on your preferences by pressing the home button, and you can go through a classic look, understated, navigation, and a whole lot of other modes. And again, there's plenty to play around with by flicking through the different buttons on the steering wheel here. Again, the right side, that's to do with your screen in front of you, your dynamic cruise control, and then the left side operates the central infotainment screen. The other key thing to note on this steering wheel is actually these two dials over here. On the right side, you have the driving mode selector, so turn that and you can go into Sport, Sport Plus, and then individual or slippery. On the left, you can actually change the exhaust note, or I'm not sure what to say, the speaker note specifically, and then the other button there changes the suspension settings. So again, tons and tons of customization on here. Right, the third part of this. Now let's hop over to the passenger side and see the infotainment screen there. Now this third infotainment screen is a real highlight of this cabin experience here, and combined the three of them give you something like 50 plus inches of screen real estate, which is really incredible to see. The key thing with this is when you touch it, you have to actually turn it on specifically, and it will only allow you that option when you've got somebody sitting in this seat or some sort of weight on here, which is a nice feature to save battery if you like. And again, you can actually turn the screen off altogether from the middle to extend your range a little bit. The really interesting thing with this third screen here is you can actually flick through the same sort of menus that you can see in the middle, but with a different sort of approach to them, where in terms of charging and then also the comfort, it's more so about viewing different settings and things, rather than, same with performance as well. You get a chance to view the different settings and the different ways the power is being used and all that sort of thing, rather than actually toggling with things and changing the driver settings, which is a smart idea from Mercedes-Benz. The only thing though is with the media, when you're in this mode, you can actually share your sort of media settings with the screen in the middle, as you can see here. So if you're listening to the radio or a particular station on this side, you can actually make sure the driver is hearing it too, which can get a bit niggly if the two of you have different music tastes. But altogether, it's a really nice little experience to get the passenger involved in the car and then also keep them entertained too. So quite smart there. Now, I've just shown you the sort of front driver and passenger experience over here. But again, this has that S badge on it. It's the EQS. And traditionally, the S-Class has been, frankly, a big focus of it has been that rear seat experience. So let's take a quick look there. Well, I can say very clearly that the S badge, well, that probably stands for space in the back, because I mean, there's just oodles of it here. Knee room, well, I don't even know what to say about that, frankly. That seat in front is set for me, so it is pushed back a bit, but there's just so much of space in the back here. Similarly with the driver, plenty of space for the rear passenger there. And in the middle too, you can easily sit 3 people here, with the fact that that transmission tunnel is so obscure that, you know, you can easily place your feet over there. The interesting thing with the back here, well, firstly, you've got the dual sunroof, so plenty of light in here, but the shoulder line of that window is quite high, so it can make the back here feel a little bit dark at times. The other interesting thing here is the seats. Well, actually, both the passengers on either side, sorry about the middle one, they've got a nice soft pillow, so when you're really putting your foot down in front, your rear passengers don't get headaches. The other cool thing about this rear section of the EQS is the air conditioning. Well, it's nice for cars to have dual zone, so you know both the driver and passenger have different air conditioning temperatures, but this has quad zone, so both the 2 passengers in the rear can also have their own individual temperatures. How about that? That's just crazy. The other unique thing is of course the charging. You've got a few USB charging ports down the middle there, some underneath the central armrest there, and then you've got space for your phone actually in this armrest back here, where you can just push that up and then support your phone on there, along with of course some cup holders. So there's plenty going on in the back here too. But this is all well and good. though this particular EQS has an AMG badge on it, and you know what AMG means, right? It means performance. So there's only one way to go and find that out, is to drive it. So let's go and do that.
Okay, so there you have it, the Mercedes-Benz EQS 53 4MATIC. It's an all-electric performance sedan that oozes luxury. Well, not quite oozes luxury, but certainly just showers you with performance. It is a fast electric car that makes you want to drive rather than sit in the back, I reckon.
It is extremely quick, handles in a way that defies gravity, frankly. But in terms of the luxury, it's certainly above, I think, the rest, but not quite what we know of the S-Class range from Mercedes.
Yep, almost nailed it, but it's not a car that you'd want to overlook if you're in that market. Certainly does give you a thrill, and you know, that's what an electric car should do, and that's what an AMG car should do. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.